Listen. This video is not going to be about escaping the 9-to-5 matrix. That's very surface level shit that you can probably find 20 other videos on YouTube about. The thing about a matrix is that you can't see it while you're in it. So we're going to go over two matrices that I think a lot of successful people actually are in still, even after they've escaped the 9-to-5 matrix, because in my opinion, that's kind of level 1 matrix. Right? You have to escape that. And I think most people, even in 9-to-5s, know they have to escape it. But once you do escape that, you think you're free. But there's layers upon layers of more matrices that you have to continually escape from. So the first one I see, especially a lot of successful people, is the grind matrix. And actually, typically, it's the successful but not highly successful, because I think a lot of highly successful people have figured this out. But the grind matrix is the matrix of I need to work hard to become more successful, and I need to work harder and harder and harder, and I need to give up my time and anything that I enjoy really doing to just sit there and grind and make this business successful, become more successful, make more money. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing, because there's phases for that. There's times for that where you need to just build and lock in. But I think the issue is when you don't leave that, and you never leave that, and you spend 10 years doing that, and then you're 30 years old, and then you're 40 years old, and you look back and you have all the money in the world, but you quickly realize that doesn't do much for you when you've already given up your most valuable resource, which is time. And so what does your life look like? Is it a life you want to live? Because I think the definition of a matrix is living the life that you truly, authentically want, that's not designed by others for you. And a lot of times, you're influenced by the content you consume. You see people online, they're doing these big things and they're preaching the hustle culture, they're preaching work and all these things. But do you want to be the hardest worker who made it? Or like Naval said, do you want to be the one who made it, who worked the least for it, who was the laziest? Because that's who I want to be, right? I want to set up the business in a way that's leveraged for me to be able to do anything that I want during my day and still have a growing business, a thriving business, and become highly successful. And this is, I've modeled this off of the people that I aspire to be like. A great example is Richard Branson. He spends all of his day surfing, doing all these other activities that he likes to do. He'll have a meeting in the morning with his assistant to just go over all the business stuff. It gets moved forward. He has systems in place. Obviously, he's a billionaire, so this is a different level of operation, but that's where you should be striving to, and not, I need to work a lot more today to get a lot more done. If your business is still bottlenecked by your time, a lot of times, in my opinion, it means that you don't have the correct systems in place, you don't have the correct people in place. And I would say we're still at that level, but we're quickly moving out of it, where now I'm working less and less. I'm working less and less, and I've actually found that the more time I spend thinking, doing things that I enjoy doing, going out for a walk and thinking, that has a way higher impact on my business than sitting there and grinding on my laptop for 8 hours a day, like it did, 2-3 years ago when I was in that building phase. But now I'm out of it, and so to get to the next level is a lot of decision making. It's about making a really good decision maybe once a week, not once a day, not once an hour, maybe once a week, maybe once a month, right? And when you scale this up, Warren Buffett makes one good decision every 2 years, 3 years, and that makes up all of Berkshire Hathaway's action, because he's just sitting there reading, playing games. Warren Buffett drinking Cokes, eating McDonald's, just chilling, living a chill life, so that he can process all the information that's coming into his life. So he can, because he's so highly leveraged and his systems are so in place, just one good decision that changes everything. So that's a bit on the grind matrix, and I might come back to that. The other one I see successful entrepreneurs make all the time, the matrix that they're in, so many of them, is the location matrix. Okay, if you've ever gotten a lease in the sky, right? I call it a skybox, right? If you ever get a skybox, right, in cities like Miami, Dubai, all these different places. I lived in Miami for about a year, and I had a very nice apartment, right? Beautiful floor-to-ceiling windows, super modern, 2 bedrooms, all beautiful, right? Guys, I don't think I've been more unhappy than in those 12-month period than in a lot of other periods of my life, because every day I would wake up, you do the exact same thing. You have such a beautiful work setup, so you just sit there and you work, and then you're spending all of your life in a shoebox. I'm getting some of these terms from Twitter, so but it sticks out to me, right? It is a shoebox if you think about it. You're living, again, going back to the definition of a matrix, you're living a life that's literally designed by others for you, which is you're living in this box that was designed by this apartment building, that was designed by society to efficiently house human beings in essentially like a little box, right? The most space efficient manner. That's not a way a human should live. So ever since I left Miami, it's been about probably 8 months now, I've been traveling all the time, month to month, week to week even, going to all the countries I've wanted to go to. And I've not only had more fun, but I've had exponentially more business growth in the past few months than I have living in Miami for 12 months, not really traveling much or staying, because two things. One, you get into thought loops, meaning you have the same inputs every single day. You wake up in the same place, you go to the same places to eat, you do the same things for fun. Soon you start getting into these thought loops where you can't have new ideas because you have no new inputs. How can you make a business changing decision, right? One that completely shifts the business, because those are, looking back at, if you look back at your business, right, probably the most pivotal moments have been a few extremely pivotal shifts or decisions that you've made that have changed the course of your entire business. And those are what you should be seeking. But those only come through new experiences. For me, a lot of times new people that I meet. That was hard to in Miami when, it's hard to when you're in one place. It's much easier when you're traveling around. You can hit people up online that you know, your friends are, you go to where your friends are, your smart friends, you talk to them, and those things really, really elevate your mindset, and they also really elevate decisions. You learn things that make all things that you were currently working on obsolete, right? So you're working on 10 things right now, you learn one thing from a really smart person, and instantly all those other 10 things are redundant. You shouldn't have been working on them in the first place. And then now you shift your full focus to that one thing, and those are where big shifts come in business. So I would say location is a big one. People are stuck in a city for too long. They're stuck in a nice apartment for too long. And you're in the matrix, right? Isn't that the definition of a matrix? So another thing I'll talk about is, what is living a life that you truly want? This is something I'm constantly trying to ask myself. I maybe ask myself this question, if not every day, at least every week. Am I in a matrix? Or better question, what matrices am I in? Because I'm always in a matrix. Everyone is always in a matrix. And I think the goal is to try to break out as many as you possibly can. But if I'm in a city for over a month, I'm no longer excited about my business. I'm no longer, let's say I'm no longer excited about my business. I'm no longer really excited by this location, but it's beautiful, it's sunny, it's not bad, right, you get comfortable, it's not horrible, right? I can stay here for another month. It's actually pretty easy. You just don't have to book another flight, don't have to do all this. Comfort has taken control of your life. Now you're no longer living the life that you want to live, but you're living the life that is comfortable. And the biggest litmus test for this is when you're 80 years old, obviously, right? You've heard this so many times. It's will you regret what you have been doing? If I lived in Miami for another year and another year and another year until I'm 25 and 30 and 40, and I just worked and gained so much money, right? Oh my God, I'm worth so much money. My business is so big. Although that probably wouldn't even happen because it's hard to build a business when you're in one place, in my opinion. I would not have liked that life. I would not be proud to tell my grandparents, my grandchildren that I lived that life, or my children at least. What I would be proud to say my life was that I maximized my life, right? I made enough money to be able to travel the world, and I did that. And I did travel the world, and I did do what I wanted to. And I did want to go to Japan and live in a countryside rural village for a few weeks. And I did want to go to Chile next month and go horseback riding because I could. And I integrated it all with my business so that it all made sense. And that's I think what the important thing is like, you have to set up your business and your life in a way where it's actually what you want. Because you can do anything that you want. if you want a business that requires you to grind 12 hours a day, you're gonna set up a business that requires you to grind 12 hours a day. I'm not saying you can't be successful like that. A lot of entrepreneurs are like that. But what's interesting is that there's equally successful entrepreneurs who don't do it that way, who only work 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day. And the rest of the time they're doing really fun shit, really crazy shit. That's my style of entrepreneurship. That's my style of life. And maybe that's not for everybody, but wouldn't you prefer that? And if you do, don't set up your business in a way that requires you to grind 12 hours. That's just, you're doing what you think you should do. And Naval says this, right? Get rid of the word should. Anytime you say should, I should do this, I should be doing this, you're just letting what society has programmed you to think that you should do. But just no should, right? What do I want to do? Not I should, oh, I probably should get a lease, yeah. I probably should, oh fuck yeah, I probably should get married now. I probably should just lock in now and settle down and get a kid. Why should? What do you want to do? Okay, I want a successful business. I want a successful relationship. I want kids. I want to be traveling the world. I'm gonna make a life plan that does all of those because I can, because life is malleable. Reality is malleable. So those are a couple of my thoughts. There's other matrices too that I won't talk about too much because I think I'm still trying to break out of them. But there is the ego matrix, right? Really great book, Ego is the Enemy. But the ego matrix is status games. It's competing with your peers or comparing yourself to peers. It goes back to you're not living the life that you want. You're living the life that you want others to view you living, right? But that's not freedom. You're chained by ego and status and these things. So you want to look really successful. You want to look like you're doing all this, but in reality, you're not even doing what you want. For a lot of people, maybe you don't even want to be successful. Maybe you're just being successful because you think everyone else cares that you're successful. Nobody cares about your life. Ego matrix. Another one, diet matrix. The diet matrix is deep. And that's one where like, the other one's a little bit more ethereal. This one's concrete and genuinely evil and pushed upon Americans specifically, but the whole world is the diet matrix. And I won't go into that too heavily. I'll make a separate video on that, I'm sure, one day. Again, still figuring those two out. But so that's a question I would urge you to ask yourself today, even right now, is two questions. What matrices am I in right now? And am I living the life that I truly want? Ooh, another matrix is I'm not doing what I want right now, but it's for a better future. Yes, that's true. That's the definition of discipline. You have to do what you don't want at times so that you can have a better future. But, I see this happen all the time with already successful entrepreneurs who have money, who have the ability to get leverage, and they're still doing what they don't truly want to do in their soul. Guys, life, and maybe this is just I'm crazy and this is the way I think, but life is just, it's too short. It's really too short. I would rather make way less money and do something I truly love than sit there on a laptop all day and drone away at a task that makes me a little bit more money. And here's the catch, right? You'll probably even make more money doing the thing that you love if you do it for a long term and you do it for 10 years plus, right? The business I spend 90% of my time on is Ice Mob. I love Ice Mob. I absolutely love the business. I could not see myself doing anything else. I love the content aspect of it. I love the product design. I love learning about design. I love the way it has an ability for me to truly make an impact on the world if I do it correctly. Guys, there's nothing I would rather be doing. And too many entrepreneurs I see who are even more successful than I am, right? In terms of money. And they stick with a business that they think is boring, that they don't truly want. They tell me sometimes like, yo, honestly, man, in the future, I would really love to do this thing. And they know what it is even, and they don't do it because they think for some reason that they need to be doing their current business to, okay, yeah, and this is the excuse, right? Yeah, I gotta make more money first, and then yeah, I can go and do that. Why? More likely than not, you have enough money. Do the math. How much money do you spend in a year? Okay, how much time does that give you in terms of a safety net to go and pursue the thing that you truly want? It's the same conversation you have with people who are working 9-to-5 jobs, right? oh, I really wish I could be doing this instead of my job, but this. And people don't understand, they sound exactly the same. The entrepreneurs sound exactly the same as a 9 to 5. If you're not doing what you truly want, you're in a matrix. It doesn't matter if you're at a 9 to 5, doesn't matter if you're running your own business, doesn't matter if you have your own schedule, you're on someone else's schedule. If you're not doing what you want, you're in a matrix. And you have to break out of that as soon as you can, because life is too short to be doing what you don't want to do. When you're 80 years old, are you going to be glad that you made a little bit extra money by grinding on this thing you didn't like to do for a little while? Or would you rather have done the thing that you loved? And then going back to what I just said, you're probably going to make more money doing what you love, because there's passion there. There's long-term thinking there when it's something you truly love. And that's irreplaceable. You can't substitute for true passion and true long-term thinking. What do all the successful people have in common? They're doing something that they love. Almost always, right? That they're truly passionate about. So, yeah, I hope this video helps a bit. I hope it serves as a kind of reflection point. But yeah, any questions, hit me up. Fucking new mic. Still in Santa Monica. About to go to Yosemite. My homie hit me up and he's like, yo, bro, I'm driving to Cali. Let's go to Yosemite. I'm like, yeah, bro, I have like work planned for this week, but fuck it. Like, let's go to Yosemite. Because, okay, why do I think this, right? This is a perfect example. I'm going to Yosemite in about 2 hours. We're about to drive to Yosemite. It's below freezing in Yosemite right now at night. Doesn't matter. I'm buying a below 20 rated sleeping bag and I'm gonna fucking figure shit out. Because it's an adventure. Because it's some shit I'd be proud to look back on. And I also know that we're gonna go camping for like 2-3 days. In those 2-3 days, I'm gonna have amazing thoughts. I'm gonna be talking with an amazing friend who's really successful. And it's just, I'm gonna be elevating my life and my business faster than if I was to just sit here at home and work. I can sit at home and work any day of my life. I can't always go to Yosemite. I can't always do these things. I'm young right now. I'm able-bodied, thank God. And so these things we have to not take for granted, and we have to be grateful and honor that gift, which is by doing bad fucking shit, like going to Yosemite. So that's it. I'm ending the video here. Yeah.